Education is really a crucial goal for any mayor, especially working closely with the school board and the superintendent to make sure that we're pushing forward the residents and the students' education. Obviously, it's hard to bring in high-tech jobs and it's hard to bring in real high-paying jobs if our education percent is pretty low. And so I would find it to be a high priority of my administration to make sure that we're pushing forward certain ideas, that we're helping the school board and the superintendent in any way possible. But I think that the partnerships are going to be critical. And I'll touch on that here in a moment. But if you're following along with the Daniel Plan, obviously I'll go step by step here and we'll kind of talk about each piece individually. As mayor, I'm going to work with local education leaders to find ways, as I said, to partner with the corporation to promote and advance education for students, both young and old. I look at education as being a process of lifelong learning. So that can go anywhere from the, as I say, the wisest of us, all the way down to our elementary school students and younger. Obviously, early childhood education is a goal and is a great thing to promote. But I think we should also not forget the individuals who maybe have gone through life and want to start a new degree, start a new career, start a new path for the rest of their life. And I think that should be a goal of ours. And ways in which we can do that, obviously partnering with our school corporation, partnering with upper education, post-secondary education type programs. Huntington University currently has one here. Obviously, Ivy Tech, I believe, is coming into the city. There are some other places like that. So I think if we can try to find opportunities for our wisest population, then we can really advance our community educationally speaking. Number two, as mayor, I want to encourage the additional use of STEM education. Of course, STEM education being science, technology, engineering, and math. What we found overall is that STEM education is really the basis for being competitive in the global market. When countries like China and Japan are really pushing forward on these 4 subjects, and we are still continuing to deal with all the other subjects on a little bit more belabored approach, I think it's absolutely critical that we focus and we pinpoint those STEM courses and make sure our kids are getting a full dose of those. Furthermore, I'd love to see our AP course potential to grow. AP courses, of course, are advanced placement courses, and they usually count for dual credit. 1 credit or a couple credits, if you will, for high school, as well as credits for college. It really gives our students a jump start and a head start into college. Think about if our students can take, let's say, their whole senior year, they can take all AP courses. Now, of course, that'll be a little bit difficult, but let's say we get to that point and our students are taking all AP courses and they're getting all of their basic liberal arts education taken care of, or most of it, in high school. Think about the money that they're saving. Think about what they're going into college, and they're spending less time, which means if they go to a public university, that's less of our tax dollars. We should put those tax dollars into play here and promote AP courses. 3, as mayor, I want to encourage a mentoring program between local business owners and potential business students. I see this as a generational issue. We have many business owners, both within the city and outside the city limits, that may be looking for a new opportunity, or maybe they want to retire. If those opportunities present themselves, we need to make sure that we have some course of takeover, if you will. And when I say that, I want to be clear. I really believe in the idea of transfer of wealth. If you have, for instance, a business owner that has kids, but the kids don't want to take over the business, and maybe they don't have any business partners or anybody that they trust in business, basically when the business closes, it dies, and it leaves a gaping hole in our community. I see a potential opportunity for this. If we can partner them with business students in the high school, and we can potentially bridge a gap between those 2 parties, there's a very big potential that maybe that high school business student can take over the business. Like I said, it's called transfer of wealth, and it's really one of the pillars of a very successful community. If you look at a lot of what the Community Foundation has been doing over the last couple of years, part of that is the transfer of wealth component. And I think it is critical that we kind of push forward and make sure that we're providing those opportunities for business students to get a real-life, hands-on experience here in our own community rather than having them go over to Fort Wayne or Warsaw or wherever the case may be. We have plenty of opportunities for mentoring that I think really should be and can be happening. There is a little bit of that, but I would really like to partner with the Chamber, with our business leaders, and with our high school to make sure that those business students are getting a real-life, hands-on application of what they could potentially be doing for the rest of their life. As mayor, I want to ask Columbia City High School and Eagle Tech administrators to provide a group of civically minded students, and this is probably the part that I'm most excited about. I want to have an opportunity to meet with them one-on-one. Well, I guess it would be the group and myself, but work with them so that they have an understanding, number one, of what local government does, but number two, and probably most importantly, is to allow them to give their ideas to me and to have their ideas be put into action here in the community. I think something that we've lost over many years, and I'm not just saying, just this last couple years, but I'm saying over many years, I think we've lost the youth component. I think if you look at our population, the population tends to be older and graying, and that's not a bad thing. They are very valued in our community. But we can't forget the young people either. And obviously, being a 26-year-old, I kind of have an understanding of what the young people want. But I think on top of that, and more critically, we need to make sure that these kids that when they go off to college or they go off to trade school or they just go off to see the world, that they have a place in a community that they can come home to. A place that they can call home, that maybe they can raise their family, that they can join in our community as a successful, productive member of our society. That opportunity, meeting with those students, getting their vision for Columbia City, and seeing ways that we can open up the opportunity for them to come back, that is a wonderful component of my plan, and I really hope that if elected, we can get it going immediately. I'd like to see my first group in my first month as mayor, but nonetheless, I'm really excited. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about that component, and hopefully we can really gain some wonderful understanding and useful knowledge from those students who maybe see a brighter Columbia City that maybe we don't even see. Lastly, as mayor, I'm going to work with the school board to find a practical location for a new high school. And to potentially keep it here in the city limits. That's critical in a lot of reasons. But first of all, if we talk about the community component, if you look at our community, if you look where our high school is right now, it's in the middle of a very busy neighborhood. That is a great thing because we want to keep people here in our city. We want them to, after they go to football games or after they go to tennis matches or science olympiad or debate team or whatever, when they come here to Columbia City High School, whether it's visitors or residents, we want them to stay here. We want them to go to our restaurants. We want them to view the beautiful downtown and see our courthouse, maybe stop by our museums, or at the very least, just tour some of the area in Columbia City, and they can see what a wonderful, cohesive community Columbia City is. I see that as being a huge potential, and I hope that we can work with the school board to make sure we keep that in the city limits. Now, another part of that is necessary and important is the fact that by keeping it in the city limits and keeping it, and of course this goes along with the infrastructure component of working with REMC, but we would really like to keep the high school on Columbia City municipal utilities, and that means municipal electric mainly. If we can keep it on electric, then we can try to keep rates for electric customers as low as possible. By keeping that within the bounds, the costs continue to be spread out. Obviously, Columbia City High School is a major user of electricity, and of course with every fee, having them be a partner in that and being a ratepayer spreads out the cost pretty dramatically among themselves as well as the other residents that are taking part in that electrical municipal utility. So, with that being the case, I think it's critical to keep them here in the city so that we can keep those rates as low as we can and make sure that we're spreading out costs as far as we can. If we lose them to Northeastern REMC, and I have to use that term because it really is, they're either in Columbia City Electric or they're in REMC Electric. If we lose them to REMC Electric, there is a very good possibility that rates could go up, and that's only because of supply and demand type thing. When you spread out cost among the major users of electricity as well as the lower users of utility, you tend to have a little bit more balanced rate. But when you lose a major utility player, if you will, to use a baseball term, but if you lose one of the major consumers of electricity, then you lose a lot of your spreading out power. And so it's my hope that we can try to work with the school board, work with the superintendent, and work here with the individuals who are making the decisions on where the school will be eventually located, that we can try to find a good place for them. So that's kind of my plan on education. Mainly, as you know, the mayor has very little power over it. We can't we can't vote on anything. We have nothing to do with the school board elected representatives. We have nothing to do with the superintendent or what decisions they make. However, we do have an opportunity to be a partner and to influence, and that's where I think the major role of the mayor comes in when it comes to education. I see a lot of partnering opportunities as I've laid out in our plan, and it's my hope that if elected, I'll have that opportunity to lead and be a partner with our educational system. So I hope that clears up a little bit about my education plan. As usual, if you have questions, feel free to email me at ryandanielformayor@gmail.com. I appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you.